So, a little tip about water conservation. One thing on the farm that we do that you can do if you have access to your gray water is you separate your sewage from your gray water. Gray water is just stuff that um, like water that you've used to clean your dishes and water that you've showered with. As you can see, it's really not that dirty. We've washed our hands with this water, you know. So, what we do is I collect it in these jugs. Some of these jugs are a lot cleaner than other ones, and you might be asking yourself why. That's because we're not just using gray water. So, as far as water conservation goes, you have to look at all your options for water. Off the top, you have gray water, which is, again, the water we use to clean our dishes and the water we showered in, right? It's quote unquote dirty water, but we don't use harsh chemicals in our laundry. It's also laundry water. We don't use harsh soaps, so we use biodegradable and biological natural soaps. So what happens is the water is not toxic to plants. So actually, some of the trees, like the banana trees, orange trees, they love that skunky gray water. And then you might notice that the other water, some of the jugs are cleaner. So that is from the local river, which is 10 minutes up the road. So we have a naturally flowing river. Maybe one day it dries up, but until then, maybe in the peak of summer it dries up. But until then, we have nice, fresh river water, which if you filtered it or ran it through a charcoal filter, I would say you could drink it. So with that, you can water your vegetables. Obviously, it's rainwater that's run through the soil, right? So you can water your vegetables and things that you'd be eating with that. Another source for water would be the ocean, but you would have to distill the water. Atmospheric water generators, which is a nice way of saying the water that's in the air or the condensation or humidity. There are atmospheric water generators or ways that you can distill or take the essence out of the moisture out of the air that we breathe. So as long as you're breathing, there's water in the air. Another way that you can get water is to buy it in jugs. You can get it delivered to you, and you can also collect rain. And there's so many different ways that you can collect water. And when you're living off grid, as we are, like right off the top, we're getting water delivered. Follow me here. We're getting water delivered that we use for showering. And then we use that water as gray water once we're done with it. So you can use gray water. We're using river water to water the plants. And we also buy drinking water, like bottled water. So we're using, and we collect rainwater. So right off the top on our farm, Love Farm Stay here in Portugal, we collect water and use water from 5 different types of sources. So this is just something that you have to keep in mind when you're off grid. It's not always as easy as just turning on the taps and water comes out. Most of the time it is. I'm not really concerned about water here. I don't believe that Portugal is at risk of a real serious drought because I know that Israel, for example, desalinates the ocean. Desalination technology is not something that's unheard of. It just needs to be done by the government and prioritized over oil. Take care, everybody.